sure about. I could be totally wrong. Hello, loves. Today we're gonna go over the 22 books that I want to read in 2022. The first thing that I should mention is that I am specifically just trying to read from what I already have, so my current bookshelves. There are no new releases in this particular one, just because I just have so many books that I already own that I would like to get through, and I'm hoping this will encourage me to clear out some of my bookshelf to make space for newer things later in the year. And these are in no particular order, so let's get into it. First off, we have a Blight of Black Wings, and this is the second book in this duology, I believe, which is about the Seven Kinnings. It's a fantasy-esque world where there is this big event that happens, and we have a bard that is telling the people the story of this big event, what led to it, different people's experiences. We're hearing from a ton of different perspectives. It's very interesting, and I'm really excited to continue. Next up, we have You Must Not Miss by Katrina Leno. I love the cover for this. I have no clue really what it's about. You're gonna get that a lot from these. I apologize. I am the type of person who loves going into book blindly, so aside from showing you the books, there's not much that I'm gonna be able to tell you. I think this is supposed to be a weird, I don't know if it's supposed to be psychological thriller, but I do believe it's supposed to be weird, and I'm excited to get into it. Another book by Katrina Leno is Horrid. This one's also a beautiful cover. I just think it's so creepy and weird, and I love it. I believe this one is supposed to be a little bit more horror, or at least a darker thriller. Who knows? Jane's fingers were numb. She was ready to admit now that she believed in, the word was still so hard to say, it was silly and childish. Oh, a ghost. So this seems like it's a ghost story, so I'm interested to hear about that. It looks like I may have grouped things unintentionally. But next up we have No Exit by Taylor Adams, and this is definitely a thriller. 13 hours, 4 strangers, 1 missing child, no exit. She knows her odds, she'll fight anyway. Sounds good. This one is on my list, even though I've heard horrible things, but Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I have loved pretty much all of the Riley Sager books that I've read so far, and this one's supposed to be a slasher horror thriller of somebody who ends up getting in the car with somebody who's trying to kill them or something like that. And apparently it's disappointing, but I want to read it anyway because I got the book anyway, and I'm pretty sure I paid full price for it, so I should read this. Next up, we have Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I've heard a lot of good things about this. I don't know much about it other than another thriller, spooky, whatever. Then I have Carmilla, this novella, which is by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. And this is apparently the story that inspired Dracula. So I really am interested in reading that. I think that will be interesting to get into, and I think it'll be a good spooky time book. Then we have Know My Name by Chanel Miller, and this one is, I believe, an autobiography about some really tough stuff, and I feel like this is going to be a hard read but a meaningful read because it's about a victim who was anonymous, who decided to come out so that her voice could be heard even more in the situation that was happening. So this is about a sexual assault survivor, and it's a memoir. Another book that I was hoping to actually read in 2021 but didn't get around to it is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This is supposed to be spooky vibes. I believe this has some trans rep, so we have our trans main character who wants to, I want to say he wants to be a brujo, but I'm not entirely sure, but because he's trans, they don't want to allow him to, and I think he does it anyway, and then he ends up connecting with a ghost, and then there's things that happen, and I'm just really excited to figure out. I've heard great things about this, and I want to dive in! I want it! Okay, then we have Velvet Was the Night. This is by Silvia Moreno Garcia, the same author who did Mexican Gothic, which I really enjoyed, had really good vibes, and this one I think is supposed to be a noir type murder mystery, maybe? I could be totally wrong. I don't know. But it has a great cover. The synopsis that I read initially sounded interesting, and I think I would enjoy it, so I'm here for it. Then we have The Death of Vivek Oji by Aweki Emezi, and I've only heard good things about this. I imagine this might be a heavy hitter, which usually does good things to me. But yeah, so I'm very interested. It's basically learning about what the life of and what happened to Vivek Oji after his death. So it starts with him dying, and then we kind of, I think, go back and learn about him through the eyes of others, possibly. But I don't know, I just heard really good things about it, and I'm very interested in diving in. All right, then the next one is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I really enjoyed the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, which was also by him, I believe, and I definitely wanted to jump on this. I love final girl type things. I don't know. It's supposed to be a horror thriller, I believe. I'm really interested in seeing if this one can scare me, because typically I don't tend to get scared by books that are supposed to be scary, even though like I do get scared in real life. Like I'm not immune to being scared. I'm just looking for it. And I imagine this might be a good one. Since the last one had a couple of moments that almost scared me, I am a little bit hopeful that this one may do better. Then we have The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. So I believe it's inspired by the real life traditions of women who would, like back in the day, poison their abusive husband. So I believe there was some real life story that revolved around this, like a case of a apothecary type thing where they would give poison to women who were in abusive relationships as a way to get out of their abusive relationships. And I think this is a fantasized version about that. I don't know if it's fantasy or if it's historical fiction. I don't know, but I'm really excited to get into it. I realize I have no clue really what this is about. I have some assumptions that could be totally wrong, so I'm just gonna say that I really want to know what it's about. Okay, then we have Middle Game by Sean McGuire, and I believe this is sci-fi, and it's about two magical twins or something that are separated and are being like, they're kind of like lab experiments, but they're really powerful and they're separated because being together would make them too powerful, but the people who have done that doesn't realize that they are still connected even in their separation, and with them they think the ones that they're connected to are fake, but it turns out that they're real, and then I think some big epic thing ends up happening once they realize that and they escape and stuff happens. I have no clue how much of that is true or not. I know nothing about this, but I've seen it a lot, mostly from Books and Lala. I know this is one of her favorite books, and I've had it for a while, and I want to get around to reading it because I imagine I'll enjoy it. All right, next up we have A Dowry of Blood, which, as far as I am aware, is basically a story about Dracula, but written from his lover's perspective, and it's about her being in this abusive relationship and the idea of consent when it comes to becoming a vampire, because if you're turned into a vampire, did you ever really consent to that? And then just kind of the dynamics between them and her trying to take back her power, and it's all written from her perspective as a letter to Dracula, and so I believe it's written in the you pronoun, so you did this, you did that, blah blah blah, so that's how you read it, as if you are Dracula receiving this. So yeah, it's a lyrical and dreamy reimagining of Dracula's Bride. Then we have What Big Teeth by Rose Zabo, and I have no clue. I'm assuming it's a Little Red retelling, a modern retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, but it says it's got mystery, a haunting setting, and thrilling tension, and apparently I I think her grandfather is the wolf in this scenario. So I imagine there might be some tough things that happen in this one, and I think the cover is beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, this may be a cover buy for me, but hopefully the book itself is also good, so we will see. Next up, we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I love romance, so I had to throw in at least one in the mix, and this one seemed like it would be a fun and silly one, and I ended up having it anyway, so might as well check it out. The Humans by Matt Haig. I've heard good things about this. This is basically the world from the perspective of aliens, and it's just kind of a commentary of us as people and things like that, and it's supposed to be funny and thought-provoking, and I think it's gonna be a good time. So then we have For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing, and this one, as far as I'm aware, is we have a teacher on campus who is drugging people to make them perform better, and then I think they might also be killing people who are bad people, and they're doing all of this for the good of the school and the good of the people there or something. I have no clue. I could be totally mixing up a couple of different books. All right, so book number 20 that I hope to read is They Never Learn by Leanne Fargo. Oh, okay, so it's possible that I was kind of combining the two of these. So I think this one is where they're drugging people, and I think this one is a very similar scenario. Wow. What is the odds? I could be totally wrong though, but I think this is the one where she's killing men on the campus who are doing bad things, and I think she's been doing this for years, but they're usually super spread out, and then for some reason she ends up killing kind of like back to back, and now she's gonna get caught or something like that. I have no clue. I don't know what any of these are about. I could be totally wrong. This is gonna be so interesting when I look at this in the future to see how wrong I am about some of these books. The last two actually are series. They're not individual books. So I like to read the Truly Devious trilogy, and then probably the fourth book, which is connected but not actually connected. Truly Devious, The Vanishing Stair, and The Hand on the Wall. This is a YA mystery where basically a girl goes to this prestigious school where only people who are really good at something end up getting invited to this school, and her thing is she wants to be a detective, and there's a dark past to the school. And in the first book, which I did read, she's kind of trying to uncover that, but it turns out that something kind of comes back and is probably connected to that past. So these books is her trying to uncover what's going on, what the connection is, what actually happened, and kind of solve the mystery. And the last one is I would like to get through the A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. I also read the first book of this, and I did enjoy it, but I think I ended up, I don't know, like it took me a while to get the other books, and then I was like, maybe I should reread the first book, and then I never got around to rereading the first book, so I've just been putting them all off. So I just want to do a binge read of this and a binge read of this so that I can get through all of the books and enjoy them, because I realize the longer I wait between continuing a series, the less likely I am to continue the series. I have to like reread the first one. Those are all of the books that I hope to read in 2022. I'm going to be doing another 100 book challenge. I'm just gonna sit at 100 books. I definitely way overdid that for 2021. I haven't put in the last couple of months worth of books. So I don't think I'll have a hard time getting to 100 next year, but I don't think I'm gonna be reading as much as I did this year, because the first couple of months of 2021, I ended up reading like 20 and 30 books a month. And then towards the end, it was more like 6 or 7, which I think is going to be closer to what I end up doing next year. So that is the current plan, and I'm really excited to see how many of these I actually get through. I'd love to know if you have any books on your list for 2022 that you're hoping to get through that may be similar to this or may include any of these, or maybe completely different. Like, is there a book that you're just like dying to read in 2022? Let me know in the comment section down below. Include this emoji, and if you'd like more book related videos, you can watch my book playlist or my reading vlog playlist, and I will catch you in the next video. Until then,